Morning, my friend.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. I'm all excited as we are now 5 sleeps away from obviously the pubs opening, and restaurants. So that's all very exciting.
Have you reserved your place?
I missed out. I told you that I didn't. I don't know why I didn't think of this, but I don't know if you saw City Life the other day. But some quite innovative bars are opening up essentially at Friday night at 12:01 to get in before. But all of the places were booked up in town, so I'm going to have to just obviously wait till the day itself. But yes. It's all in action, and the week after, I've got a lot of fantastic meetings scheduled in restaurants and boozers again. So it's fantastic.
Life as normal. You're returning to life as normal in the Whale household. You're going to school today, right?
I'm sorry. Yes, I am going to be nipping off in relatively short because the boy needs taking in and. Yeah, he's got. Oh, actually, I didn't really. I think I'd seen obviously on the news, but I didn't realise they were quite as on the ball. He's got to have a temperature check. Do they do that with your nippers?
Morning, Amy. No, we are not. Our nippers are not going back till September at least.
Okay.
So yeah.
So I walk him in. Apparently, I present him. I don't know if they can reject him. But they'd be mad to, and yeah, they give him a temperature check because apparently, and get this, and this does resonate. Apparently, some parents would try to sneak their kids in, even if they were ill, which I find staggering. I know.
I've never done that before. Never just given them a double dose of Calpol.
Exactly. if they can vaguely walk, you just shove them in, don't you?
Is that?
Right. Just on the first story, and I mean, genuinely, it is quite serious as well. Obviously, America's still having this. I don't know whether it's still the first wave or the second wave, but because they've obviously it's been such a second wave is hitting. A lot of the bars in California are already closing up again because they're experiencing it. So we could find ourselves back in before we had a chance to get out.
It's going to start to happen here as well, but it's happening everywhere across the world, but most prevalent in America because I just don't think our cousins across the water are being all that safe about things.
Did you see that thing I posted on one of the things I did post on Facebook about the ones I think it was in Florida who were in court, and they were obviously they were Trump supporters, but they were ranting at it's breaking the amendments, the Constitution. You can't force us to wear this. It's God's, and they were citing all the same stuff, Bible and everything, firebrand preaching, to say that they couldn't be forced to wear these masks. I thought, Jesus Christ, just let them not wear it. Isn't that self-correcting?
So let me ask you: will you be wearing a mask when you sort of going out everywhere?
I must admit, I did find them. Yeah. When I've been on the train already, you have to obviously on the public transport. I did find them quite claustrophobic, but yeah, I'm getting used to it now. Maybe that means I'm entering into an S&M kind of Tory MP kind of thing.
Good morning, Graham. Graham is intent on forcing us straight into a very political debate first thing in the morning. Can you comment on the news story this morning? An estate agent group in Texas has said it will stop using the term master when describing bedrooms or bathrooms over complaints over its association with slavery. Well, let's face it.
Okay, it is an odd term, isn't it? There's the show. We're not. This is a slippery path, David. This is a slippery path.
In a mostly patriarchal society, the estate. Yeah, so you're asking what? An industry of mostly white males to comment on whether or not we should stop using the word master.
That's ridiculous, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Are you sure?
It's absolutely ludicrous.
What do you call it in your house?
First of all, I don't believe it. Fake news, Graham. Fake news.
No, it can't be fake. Do you know why it's not fake?
Go on.
because Sean Adams posted it.
Ah, okay. Is he the arbiter of truth now?
Yeah, he brandishes the truth like a burning cross on a lawn.
This is just the stuff to put out to literally wind up a certain demographic, isn't it?
I think it is, but it's a funny term, the master bedroom, though, isn't it?
I hadn't even thought of that connotation, which, if you were to get all clever and poncy about it, maybe is the point, isn't it? To think about some of the terminology you use in everyday language.
I agree, and aren't we long overdue seeing the word ensuite taken out of our beautiful English language? Why are we still using European terms so long after Brexit?
Yeah, I mean, that was done and dusted, wasn't it? I thought that our Bojo promised us. That was
tick that one off his list. Done.
Exactly. So does that mean we should or shouldn't be rechristening it mistress bedrooms, or is that a completely different thing?
No, I think mistress assumes some sort of gender role in the room as well. So we need to make this a non-binary bedroom.
Non-binary, like me, because as Amy Hansen always talks about, no threat Whaley. I span the genders. I'm pretty. Well, I was going to say, am I trans? But I just think being fat and blonde isn't really its own demographic, is it?
I love Darren Hutchins.
He's obsessed with kittens, and of course, none of us know what that is.
He's told he likes puppies as well.
He's a big animal lover and a vegan, apparently.
Really?
No, but his missus is, his lovely missus is, so he's eating less meat. And I'll avoid a cheap joke there, by the way. Other news, and actually local to us. Can you believe that Into has collapsed into administration, aka the owners of the Trafford Centre? In fact, they do, don't they? They do Lakeside and Merry Hill and all those ones. These
huge, massive.
These absolute behemoths that you would never. If there was one part of the country, obviously pre-lockdown, that you couldn't believe, that would never suffered from, obviously, had sucked all the attention and the shopping away from the high street. But the idea that they could go into administration so quickly is what shocked the crap out of me, anyway.
Well, they were in trouble beforehand, weren't they? There were murmurs and they were moaning. You're looking at that comment from Darren, aren't you?
Yeah. Don't know what he's talking about, because I'm pretty sure
you've never been seen in a gentleman's club in your life. They only let gentlemen in. No, but I think Into were under pressure, and I think the story here is the effect of non-payment of rent from commercial tenants, and in actual fact, something not very well covered by the press, and certainly our industry press. But there's been no special measures put in place for commercial landlords to keep them afloat. So tenants can now not be evicted till, I think they extended that till September. So let's say you've got a commercial tenant, you can't do anything about it.
Yeah. That's the story in Property Industry Eye again, isn't it, today, talking about landlords urged to lobby MPs on the impact of repossession ban. They were talking about here that, landlords are being rallied to lobby their members of parliament to highlight the consequences of the 5-month ban on repossessions. It's talking here about landlord action alone as approximately 500 live pre-COVID cases stuck in the system as a result of court closures. And again, all of this you might think is a top level and difficult to get down, but one landlord, David Healy, is owed over £10,000 in arrears, and his tenant has not paid any rent since November. That's, apart from the government's assault on landlords, that's a real life story that somebody's not everyone is one of these barren landlords, are they?
No, but it's a shame that the national, what they call these days, the National Rifle Landlord Association. The National Landlords Association, whatever they're called, they should they want to lobby Parliament. They should get 12 grand together, donate it to the Conservative Party,
Yeah.
smear Robert Jenrick in jail, and you get what you want, guys.
Is that even worth commenting on it? Is it? I mean, that the whole Jenrick story, isn't that?
I think it is massively newsworthy because I actually think that is we as a property industry, we always talk about the industry. When we talk about the industry, you talk about the likes of who? Suppliers and agents.
Yeah.
We very rarely include home builders in it, so actual developers of land. I think the builders themselves, and let's face it, nationwide, there's probably about 4 or 5 main builders that between them have the stranglehold on all the major residential development. So your likes of sort of Barratt Homes and Bellway and, insert generic builder company name here. But basically, they have much more sway with government because it's big bucks, isn't it? And talking of land and new homes, good morning, Mr. Kevin Ellis.
It's like Candyman. You say the name, and he jumps up. Well, actually, we were on Kev's call on Friday, weren't we? At the 2% in, the fantastically 2% in.
In the new normal,
It was their fourth birthday. So again, congrats, Kevy and Stratford there. But one of the things, go on.
I was going to say what was tremendously touching on Friday, and it's a shame that she wasn't there, but there was the most tremendous tributes paid to Ros Renshaw on that call. Different stories that people remembered. One of your stories is very memorable, but it's amazing, and it's a shame she didn't hear it. We had a drink for you, Ros.
Oh, we should get our Chris England and Matt, the property video guys. Well, I'll tell you what we'll have to do. We'll have to edit as much as we can do out of the recordings we've made, and we'll make sure she gets it. There we are. That's better than a clock, isn't it?
I think so. But I'm not sure whether the property industry is going to be the same.
No, I'd say one thing we were talking about on Kev's online boozer the other day, digital Weatherspoons, was that they made the point, Peter Knight and Kev knew him well, was that house building legend Tony Pidgley died last. Now, I must admit, it was a name that I'd record never had anything to do with him, and learning a bit more. But again, Peter and Kev were talking quite eloquently how they knew him. Peter Knight obviously always has a good story, and he had a couple of buttes that wouldn't be okay to sell without his permission. But the Barclay Homes, it's Barclay Homes, isn't it, rather than Berkeley?
I think so.
Absolute legend. I think Kev made the point. He's obviously it's on the property industry and EAT today, and again, Kev's made a really nice bit of a mini eulogy to him there. So again, as you said, real relevance in terms of the wider industry, isn't it?
So, given that we think that house builders have got massive power, and Kevin Ellis is probably the fastest route to that market for property people. Is Kevin Ellis?
Come on, that doesn't help at all, Kev.
No, it doesn't.
That doesn't help me pronounce it at all.
Kevin Ellis has actually found himself in the position of being a massive power broker. He's
a nexus. He's a coming together, a point where you're desperate. Honestly, you're a bit mental, aren't you? Because you keep looking for this person from the industry to pull the sword from the stone and represent you, the public, and take us back to the world of Albion. Are you saying that Kevin Ellis is?
That's much better, but Barclay.
It shows how terrible my memory is that I just wonder what the fuck's he going on about there. Barclay.
Look, if Kevin Ellis wants to represent the industry, I'm up for that. He'd get my vote.
Okay, good. Can we talk about my friend Trump?
Oh, if we must. Go on.
Okay, so obviously he's after the Russian hooker incident and everything else, he's obviously doing everything he can to never ever criticize Russia. On top of, obviously, I don't know if you watched those Salisbury poisoning thing the other day, which was pretty amazing. News came out over the weekend, I think it was, that Russia had, unsurprisingly, if you go back to a Rambo-style world, that they had been giving bonuses to the Taliban to kill both UK and American soldiers. Anyway, he's come out in his normal way, ranting and raging on Twitter, denying that this is a new one, by the way, denying that he'd even had the briefing where he'd been told that this was happening. He then went on to say, though, that, everybody is denying it and there have not been many attacks on us. When you look into it, however, casualty records show that 2019 was the deadliest year for US service members in Afghanistan since 2014. So, again, I don't know whether reality and truth has any relevance to play in this part of it, but it seems that Putin can do whatever he wants, literally whatever he wants, and just get away with it.
But isn't that the case of being the maddest bastard in the room? So, when you go into a bar and there's just some guy propped up there and you think, well, I'm not going to ask him to leave because he's a fucking nutcase, he's going to kill someone. But that's always been, that is what the world's sort of nuclear non-aggression pacts are built on, mutually assured destruction, isn't it?
You're right, yeah.
It's knowing that to push it further would be absolute annihilation.
But sorry, are you talking about, because they are mad, I believe, but where are you talking about Putin? Because Putin has that cold, calculating madness, whereas Trump is literally helter-skelter, isn't he?
I think there's something. I know somebody on drugs when I see it. I'm sorry, but Donald Trump is not just running on normal fumes. That is.
Well, famously though, that would obviously be an amazing story. But famously, the fella doesn't drink because his brother was, whether he was an alcoholic, he certainly had a trouble with it. So, I mean, and if there's anyone that, well, I was going to say, does he need a drink? But as you just highlighted, maybe giving him access when he's pissed to the nuclear launch codes isn't the best idea I've had.
Do you think he's on that note? Do you think he's losing credibility now? So now that he's
losing credibility, what credibility does he have anyway? He can't look. It doesn't matter. He can't.
He may win his.
He can't lose any more credibility with reasonable people. He's had none for years, and his own demographic don't give a toss anyway. So this is the worst part about the world we live in at the moment. You can't affect change.
Okay, so new competition, guys. If you want to write in, what would Donald Trump have to do to lose credibility with his own supporters?
Like that. Yeah.
And a pub lunch on Kerfuffle, socially distanced with none other than Mr. Simon Whale for the winner of this competition.
Vote today. Keep it going on the Facebook page, and whoever comes up with the best idea about what Donald Trump would have to do to finally get caught out will get at least a steak bake. I mean, that's the bare minimum, isn't it?
My money's on Tom McGee coming up with some gold.
Well, of course, yes. He's as a lefty as well. That's going to happen. Also, because there wasn't. You're right. There wasn't really much industry news I was particularly interested in about today.
No,
I mean,
it was very, very dry.
Moribund. But one that I did like from the wider world was that Piers Morgan has revealed how he was bedbound by heat exhaustion over the weekend after being knocked for 6 by last week's heat wave. So I just like the idea that like a whale or like an overheated seal, he literally didn't have any idea of how to cope with temperatures that were approaching 25, 26 and 27 degrees, which most of us would know is go inside, have a drink.
I can't cope with it.
You were telling me on Friday.
Did you see? I was just melting. But
one of the problems you have, by the way, my friend, is that when you're getting yourself ready, often you do this. and you change it down. Yes, it's lovely, it's touching, and it distracts me quite often. But we didn't need that on Friday. Not with you going 10 a dozen. The temperature was brutal up here anyway. 30 degrees, that's a nonsense, isn't it? Nothing needs to be 30 degrees.
It's ridiculous. I just need a bit of air, a bit of a breeze.
Yeah. So anyway, so poor Piers Morgan, Piers Morgan, he makes the point he couldn't walk, couldn't talk, couldn't breathe. It was like utopia for all my critics. So never wanted to pull the story back to himself there.
Generally speaking, looking at world news, it's a little bit a bit miserable. But Leicester is supposedly preparing themselves to go into lockdown.
So how does that work? I heard the story. I was watching Mar while I was.
I'm presuming that the Prime Minister calls his aide. Their aide calls local government. Local government picks up the phone to the Mayor of Leicester. The Mayor of Leicester picks up the phone to Luke St. Clair and says, "Luke, we need to shut the city down. Is that okay?"
Yeah,
and he says, "Yay or nay."
Let me just do this video, and yes.
And why have they got a particularly high spike?
I don't know. It's a really good point, isn't it? You could understand more the likes of Bournemouth with obviously those beaches and everything else there. I don't know.
Trump. Napoleon Wilcox, probably coitus with an animal. On second thoughts, that might still be legal in some southern states.
Well done, Napoleon.
It's close.
Knowing Napoleon, I don't think he'd want to win that lunch with me, but he's certainly in the lead at the moment. Was there anything else? I'll tell you one story that did catch my eye actually in the state agency today. Dan Channer, who was formerly the MD of an amazing agency, Finders Keepers. They sold out to Countrywide, and Dan's become a consultant there. I was lucky enough, I think in the first time I was asked to do some of the judging at the Sunday Times to review Finders Keepers when they actually won the overall one. The amazing business that was, and Dan's a real, I know it's often used, but thought leader. He makes the point, though, today that he feels that Foxtons is one of the very few truly differentiated brands in the property industry. He says, why is only one brand in the UK truly differentiated? His answer is Foxtons. It was unique, infamous, and the subject of envy and no little schadenfreude at times. It spent money on its offices like no other agent. I really like this next bit, by the way. The Millwall positioning, nobody likes us, we don't care, was like no other agent. It did hard sales harder than any other agent. It stood out, he writes. That kind of resonates, isn't it? But is it fair to say that they differentiate, or are they still just the poster boy for people having a pop at agents?
I think they probably represent the hard-nosed view of agents, very cutthroat sharks. But that's a business model. But I'd be very interested to see what goes on behind the scenes in terms of the what staff morale is like when all's said and done.
There's been a lot of stories, haven't they? I don't know whether they were official. Certainly, I've seen a lot on WhatsApp. Apparently, how their teams have been treated there over the lockdown period. That what they were being forced to do. It would be interesting to know whether they'd tell you or not, because they are quite a closed shop there.
We're going to have to let you go into 3 minutes, but you mentioned thought leaders before. Yeah. And I want to document something that's happening live in front of us at the moment. Yeah. Has anyone noticed the transformation, the metaformation of a character and a personality that is going on at the moment? And as Andy Overman during lockdown has morphed from agent to thought leader. So now Andy has he does these live, he goes for a walk every day. So has these videos where he pants as he's talking. Good morning, guys. This is me. I'm out walking my dog. Just want to say how blessed we are to have. I mean, it's a bit Sean Newman, but it's happening, and this is a very distinct departure from the Overman of old that we saw, which was,
is it the second age of Overman?
This may be the golden age of Overman.
Golden age, bro.
Golden age of Overman.
Well, he doesn't want to admit it, but friend of the show, Andy, let us know. Are you repositioning yourself, ready for some big launch for glory?
He's a thought leader. The guy is full of fresh inspiration. It's amazing what a bit of exercise will do. Talk of exercise, how's your
Oh, thank God! Walking.
Yeah, that's walking. It's not just a double header.
Yeah, other than what has always been my exercise. Yes, it's all right. Yes, not bad. Still getting out there and doing it. So I have halted the talking about the age of Overman. I've halted the increase in size to 19 stone. So it's all looking good. Just got to give up the curries, which is never going to happen.
Oh, yes, he does look a little bit Full Metal Jacket, Tom, doesn't he?
Oh, that's definitely a private pile.
Yeah, defo. When you see them he's doing those 25 push-ups a day.
Yeah.
And when he's doing those push-ups, it scares me to think
by the way, just on that, was there anything more forced than President Bojo doing the press-ups in the Mail?
I've not seen that. You know why? Because we're not allowed to read the Daily Mail in this house.
No,
it's racist trash.
Yeah. 60,000 dead or whatever it is, but he's fit as a butcher's dog. The news story said, so that's good. He can do press-ups.
That's what we need in a prime minister. These interesting.
I have noticed, by the way, I know some, these things go viral. There are a few too many people, aren't there, out there doing these press-ups live, and they are some of the most tortured video you will find on Facebook, which of course is the home for tortured video.
It's let's face it, it's bullshit. If you really want to do something to raise awareness for charity or whatever it is, go out there and give your time to a charity. Don't.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, let's finish up with this story because it's relevant as well. This is again another estate agent today, and it's talking about Arnold Key's, an agency, actually Overman country in the east of England, and it's transitioning to 3 new multi-service hubs in Norwich, Sheringham, and Earlsham. However, previous branches at Wroxham North, Walsham and Crome were not reopened. Now, this is on the back of obviously Countrywide saying a third of their offices, I think it was, weren't open. There was a story about Fowl Hayworth again. Many multi-office agencies finding their way back. And I think sensibly, thinking about, actually people mentioned Foxtons, being able to boss your patch without having to have local branches there, I think is one of the most definitive demonstrable signs of people restructuring their businesses. They have got the opportunity, whereas they probably would have been very much seen as a massive negative used against them by their competition. People are able to test the water now, aren't they, like they couldn't before.
I love the the use of the word transitioning in that
yeah, the way that I'm transitioning from a sober person to a piss person this weekend. Which seems like a perfect moment to leave, isn't it, mate? So, yes, apologies.
Yes. Have a great week, everybody.
Yes,
sorry the news is so shit today. John Paul's come in.
You've got to post that one. That's the finisher there.
I'm calling you Overman.
I didn't know they stack shit that high, I think is the phrase. And on that bombshell.
Love you guys. Thanks for
tuning in. See you later. Thank you.